Hello, I'm Azai. Welcome back to Harmonic Reflections. I actually haven't really been recording much the past couple of days after I was finishing up the Unlimited Blade Works for Fate's Stay Night route. But yeah, yesterday I was going to my niece's birthday. She's 17 and, unlike people in outside of Indonesia, I'm gonna guess that 18 is like when people celebrate their legal age or whatever. So usually 18 is when they're gonna have their big birthday. But over here, I don't know why it's like 17. I don't even think that 17 is actually the legal age here. It's probably 18 too. But I'm guessing it's just a cultural thing. But yeah, I went back, I think, at about 11 p.m. yesterday. And I kid you not, instead of sleeping, I've been kind of so engrossed in games lately that I just played Symphony of War. And I think I played up till 4 a.m. That's how crazy it was. And I skipped the gym today because I was lacking in sleep. It was insane. But yeah, I slept a lot today. And right now I woke up at 7 p.m. here. I needed that basically refresher of my sleep. And holy moly, it was crazy. Tomorrow will be more Fate's Stay Night. But sadly, I think I'll have to be skipping on Shrift. I did open at Shrift like 2 days ago, thinking whether or not I want to make another episode of it. But episode or EX4 on Shrift should be translated from what I see. So next week we'll be finishing up Shrift, and we can probably open up the next visual novel for me to Let's Play for you guys on Patreon. But okay, with that said, let me just do the last episode recap. On the previous episode, we finished up the main story route, which is Sari's route, right? And I gotta say, I think I actually enjoyed Sari's route. I think it was blindsiding, yeah. The fact that Tokyo was actually not our brother, but it was our manifestation of our like a delusional past. We put everything into Tokyo so that we can blame Tokyo, right? We can make him the prodigy. We can basically lose all of the guilt that we have. It was an interesting like twist, of course, but I felt like it wasn't as surprising for me since I've read something similar to this. And even if it wasn't similar, I thought about this sort of twist in a different like visual novel, and yet it was it didn't actually become in this sort of way. If you understand. Like basically I thought the twist in a different visual novel was something like this, but turns out it was different. So yeah, my brain is pretty accustomed to thinking about twists and turns since I play lots of story types right now. Before that, I believe we were just talking to Tachibana and having the date, which was in chapter 8 before the final chapter. And yeah, I don't know whether or not to feel sad about Tachibana, really. She likes us, but I don't know. I feel like to some degree, she was also the biggest responsible person for what happened to us and what happened to them as children. Because even Angie turned out to be one of our childhood friends. But yeah, not really going to talk too much about that. What we're here to do is actually going to be doing the extra route once you finished up the main story, which is, I'm gonna guess, Tachibana's route, right? Since that's what it is on the achievement like name. The moment I lost the words, I thought I'd found something overlap with Tachibana's figure. It felt like a younger version of her. About the same age as Tokyo, maybe.
なんで黙ってんの？
Uh, uh,
ねえ、じゃあさ、心の底から嬉しくないとき、そんなとき私はどんな顔すればいいの？さっきみたいな笑顔じゃダメなんでしょ？
I do think that I personally like Tachibana's voice actress a bit more than Sari, though. I wouldn't go that far, but she peered into my eyes again, as if searching for something deep inside. Feeling oddly self-conscious under her gaze, I instinctively looked away. I don't really know, but it's better to cry when you're sad. Tachibana's eyes lit up at the words I stumbled out to hide my embarrassment.
変わってないじゃん。
She let out a delighted laugh. What's the same?
いや、なんでもないよ。
After letting her laughter subside, she looked straight into my eyes and leaned over.
ねえ、私たち友達になろう。モズにあると。
I believe this is actually a flashback, so we definitely changed the past like a long time, right? So this was before we met up with Sari. This might actually change things in the future, in fact. A lot of the things in the future, I think. But I guess we'll see. Oh, okay, this is same dialogue. So let me skip this till we can get to proceed to next choice. I don't know whether or not that's is there a next choice? I swear, throughout all of this game, there's only like one specific choice. But yes, I will be skipping to next choice till we actually get somewhere. Okay, so this is after we went to Nagano, right? And I guess we had the party together with all of them when they snuck out to our cabin. The desk was littered with the remains of our snacks. I gazed at it absentmindedly. Amane-san's warmth still filled my mind. Of all the snacks, the one she kept reaching for was down to its last pieces. I ate one of them. It was just an ordinary snack, but it tasted nostalgic.
何してるの？アキ、何って、何も、なんでもないけど。
What's with the echoey voice?
何その答え。完全に不審者じゃん。盗み劇？違う、そんなんじゃないって。
What? I could hear voices from the entrance, just beyond the door. When I opened the door, the first thing that came into view was Tachibana's face as she turned back. Another karate club member was there. Oh, I thought that was Sari. She was still wearing her gi. It was the girl who had gotten off the bus in a foul mood.
ああ、そういうこと。違う、アキ。別に自由時間に何してようが文句言う気ないけど。余裕がある人はいいね。必死で自主練してる自分がバカみたいに思えてくる。こんな時間までやってた。悪い。必死なの、こっちは。最後のインターハイ、後悔したくないから。
I mean, I don't mind you being competitive, Aki, but you know, if you're like envious of Tachibana for being better than you, even with all the effort that you put into training, then I don't think it's a very like a good sort of personality to have. The disgruntled club member turned her back on us and walked away. I still don't particularly like that girl. Her white gi stood out in the dimly lit night. She was heading to the gym. Lights spilled out from the gym doors.
私だって後悔したくなくて必死なんだっつうの。
The sound of fading footsteps overlapped with Tachibana's bitter murmur. Were you here the whole time? Tachibana raised her face.
まさか偶然通りかかっただけだけど。
Wait, was it just us and... I'm trying to remember whether or not it was just us the first time with Angie and Tachibana wasn't there. But I thought that she was there. I couldn't help but laugh at such a transparent lie.
何？
You're not even trying to convince me, are you?
嘘はついてない。部屋には一回戻った。また戻ってきただけ。
Okay. To eavesdrop?
悪い？
She's really doubling down. It's not exactly the classiest thing to do. Tachibana sighed and smiled faintly.
そうだよね。ごめん。サリにも明日謝っとく。
It doesn't really bother me though. What I just shared with Amane-san about my past, I had also told Tachibana before, though only in bits and pieces. I wasn't about to talk about it with just anyone, but if it was Tachibana, I didn't mind. I don't think we talked about not being able to hear the piano yet. Or maybe we have. I don't remember. The sequence of events, I mean. You sure you're okay? That girl. Harayama, was it? She looked like she was giving you trouble this morning, too.
ああ、うん。こっちのことはこっちで何とかするから。大丈夫だよ。
I could hear the trees rustling in the distance, followed by the wind. Tachibana hunched her shoulders against the chill. You'll catch a cold.
そうだね。戻らなくちゃな。アルトももう寝るでしょ。
Yeah, gotta get up early tomorrow.
じゃあ、おやすみ。
Tachibana raised her hand and spun on her heel.
アルト、
She said, her back still turned to me. When Tachibana slowly turned to me, a faint smile appeared on her profile.
強くなろうね。私たち。
I stayed silent and simply gazed at her smile. As I fumbled for words, Tachibana chuckled faintly.
おやすみ。
Then she turned and walked toward her cabin. I watched her go until her figure gradually vanished into the night. She simply walked on without ever looking back. I mean, that's certainly a strange thing to say to me because I don't know what I should be focusing or getting stronger for, right? Okay, this is chapter 5. Chapter 5 might be when she got hurt.
あれ何してんだあいつら
Yeah, I think it might be when they got hurt. I think, yeah, this is the part where... did she not get hurt this time? Hearing the sound of approaching footsteps, we both turned to look out the window. I believe this is when we met up with Angie and he was pretty depressed since he talked about how he wasn't there during Tachibana's moments of need. There were two girls in karate gi. One was limping, keeping the weight off her right foot. There we go. It was Tachibana and Harayama-san. The two of them slowly drew nearer. As soon as Harayama-san looked our way, we ducked down without thinking.
なんで隠れたんだよ
You're one to talk.
なんかなんとなくだよ
Angie, compared to how he was when he was a kid, really simmered down his personality. He's so much more meek. Leaning against the wall, the footsteps outside the open window grew steadily louder. Then, the two sets of footsteps stopped right on the other side of the wall.
これ、ありがとう。うん。洗って返そうとも思ったんだけど。
いいよ別に。いつも一緒に汗だくになってんだから。
そうだよね。
Their conversation came to a stop. My eyes met Angie's. We'd already blown our chance to slip away. What do we do? I mouthed. Angie simply tilted his head. I couldn't tell if he didn't understand me or if he just didn't have any ideas.
明日、秋たちの試合じゃん。
うん。
その前に、言っておきたいことがあるの。
So was this the heart-to-heart that she was talking about to us before? Another silence. My eyes met Angie's. Before long, Tachibana's voice broke the stillness.
秋の言う通り、私、自分の都合でこの場所を選んだ。本気で探せば、他の合宿所はあったかもしれない。でも、私はここが良かったの。好きな人がここにいるって分かってたから。
My eyes were probably darting all over the place. Darting all... Yeah, I thought I messed up that sentence somehow. And I like how this CG is practically for feet lovers. What the fuck? Why are they showing me their toes? Angie closed his eyes, a gentle smile forming at his lips. At that very moment, Harayama-san's soft chuckle drifted in from the window.
付き合ってない。彼氏じゃない。それは本当。でも、浮かれてはいたのかも。だからこんな怪我したんだよ。
それは関係ないでしょ。練習中のエリが真剣なのはみんな知ってるよ。
でも、気が緩んでたとは思う。秋に何言われても言い返せなかったのも図星だったから。公私混同って言ったでしょ、秋。その通りだよ。私、絶対に二人きりにさせたくなかったの。
どういうこと？
ペンションにいるでしょ、ちっこい美人が。
ああ、なるほどね。
Is she really that tiny? Harayama-san chuckled in amusement.
確かに、あれは手強そう。幼馴染なんだっけ？
そう、手強いよ。超手強い。勝ち筋がまるで見えない。
そっか。そっちも三角なんだ。
My eyes met Angie's. His eyes widened, tilting his head in confusion.
どういう意味？
From her tone, I could tell Tachibana was just as surprised.
エリだけ吐き出してすっきりされるのずるいから、私も吐き出す。
I could hear Harayama-san take a deep breath.
私も好きな人いる。
And what the
こ
fuck?
こにいるの。
Do you actually like that Angie dude? Do you like Angie? I mean, I doubt you'd like us because we don't know each other.
でも、その人の心は他の人に向いてる。それが嫌というほどわかる。
Yo, Eri never actually talked to like Angie about this. The fuck? You could at least help a bro out. If he couldn't get you, you should at least hook him up.
ずっと一緒にいるから。
待って、どういうこと？全然話が読めない。だって、マジ？アンジ？
Angie quietly gasped, his gaze wandering off somewhere. I couldn't hear a thing, but maybe Harayama-san had nodded. Between Harayama-san's words and how things were at the karate club, the answer was obvious.
そうだったんだ。
You didn't really give off that sort of impression.
意外だった？全然気づかなかったでしょ。
Not at all.
気づかなかったけど、別に意外ではないよ。いいやつだし。
だから、エリに当たってた部分もある。
I guess that sorta makes a lot more sense of why you're a bit too sharp with Tachibana at times. Because she was also frustrated that the one that she likes didn't like her back but likes her.
首相の座も男も全部持ってくじゃんって。でもエリはエリで誰かに持ってかれてたわけだ。
Yeah, that's true.
言っとくけど、歴は長いよ。
親近感。
傷の舐め合いじゃん。
The two of them laughed.
どうするの？私たち引退だよ。伝えないの？
まずは試合に勝つ。
I think those guys actually lost yesterday. Or last time.
勝てる可能性があるだけ気が楽。インターハイ。
すっごいわかる。
What does that mean?
負け格の試合。しんどいよね。
Oh,
しんどい
instead of a battle of love, you mean?
しんどかった。すっと。
So stupid.
私は終わりにするつもりだよ。試合終わったら。
うん。私もそうする。最後の合宿、ここでよかったな。
気に入ってくれた？
正直、最初から気に入ってた。最高じゃん。森に囲まれてて、料理も妙に美味しいし。
わかる。
Their laughter continued for a while.
八つ当たりしてごめん。ずっとあんたが羨ましかったよ。 エリ
I mean, I kind of figured that was the stem of it all, but I didn't really expect you to like Angie too.
私も弱い首相でごめん。あと話してくれてありがとう。
今日からちゃんと副将の仕事する。
それは頼もしいな。笑っちゃうほど頼もしい。じゃあさ、見守ってて。
見守る？何を？
今からみんなにも伝える。下心があって場所決めたこと、後ろめたさがあったことも、それでみんなに心配かけることになったことも、ちゃんと謝っておきたいの。
全員に？
そう、全員に。
I glanced over at Angie. His eyes were closed, his head lowered, but a faint smile lingered at the corners of his lips.
それでエリがスッキリするならいいよ。みんなも意外にスッキリするかもね。なんとなく気になってはいるだろうし。
だよね。
いいんじゃない？今から？
もちろん。明日開会式だし、善は急げって言うし。
わかった。行こう、首相。
Their footsteps faded into the distance. This must be after we went back from the hospital then. Angie leaned further back against the wall, gazing up at the ceiling. He drew in a deep breath, then exhaled slowly. I found myself staring at his profile. At some point, the dryer had stopped.
聞かなかったことにした方がいいよな。
I guess
敵かな。
we'll have to make it work. Angie ruffled his hair and stood up. He opened the dryer, pulled out his gi, and unfurled it. The thick fabric snapped taut with a loud thud.
乾いた。バッチリだ。
Oh, sorry about that, Angie. He turned back to me with a smile.
じゃあな。また食堂で。
Yeah, see you later. He was probably getting rid of his, or like washing his fake blood gi, since he was supposed to be pretending to be hurt. Okay, this is still the same. I'm gonna guess the difference is when we get to the competition. Whoa! Not even to the competition yet. During the time when we're together with the snacks. After parting with Tachibana and returning to my room, I found Angie there, along with Amani-san. That's a rare combo.
そう？意外に気が合いそうだよね。
うんうん。
Snacks were scattered across the table. Sure enough, neither of them seemed the type to clean up, but they sure liked making the mess. That's probably where that's probably why they hit it off.
アルト君に頼みがあるんだって、アンジーが。
A favor? I joined the two of them at the table.
明日さ、試合見に来てくんねえかな。
Tomorrow? I thought you weren't competing.
うん。まあそうなんだけどさ。明日、開会式と型の試合なんだよ。
Wait, are the guys already done?
女子は団体型で出る。
Tachibana's in the individual kumite, right? Angie nodded. In short, neither Angie nor Tachibana would be competing tomorrow. I thought over the real meaning behind Angie's invitation. Seeing me fall silent, Angie smiled faintly.
そんなに深く考えなくていいんだよ。せっかくここに居合わせてるんだし、うちの部の試合を見てやってほしいってだけだ。
話し相手が欲しいって正直に言えばいいのに。
You wanted me to join you while you watch the competition, I guess?
変なの？
まあ、そうとも言え。
I turned my gaze toward Amani-san. I didn't really know how much work I had to do tomorrow. I couldn't just decide on my own.
アルト君が決めていいよ。手伝ってもらう仕事はもちろんあるけど、お休み扱いにして応援しに行くのももちろん OK。
I think tomorrow is when we actually do that stupid festival thing, which was so random. Sure, I'll go do the cheering work. Alright, so that's a new choice once again. Alright, I'll go.
よかった。 そう言ってくれると思ってたよ。
I'd actually been thinking the same thing.
考えてた？
I turned my eyes to her and nodded. I figured Tachibana's still anxious despite what she says. Her legs got to be hurting too. Amane-san let her vacant gaze drift as she gave a faint smile.
今エリと話してきたんだよね。
I answered with a nod. I might be the only person she'd never show weakness to, since I'm not in the karate club. I know I can't really do anything about the matches themselves, but if I'm at the venue, I can at least be someone she can talk to.
いいと思う。きっと喜ぶよ、エリ。
But what about the lodge? Will it be okay if I'm gone? Amane-san smiled faintly and nodded.
なんとかする。気にしなくていい。
Sorry, having so many facial expressions suddenly weirds me out because usually she doesn't have that many in these scenes. I feel she usually just has like one expression plastered. I turned to face Angie. So, where's the competition? Somewhere around here?
湖の方。
Can I borrow your scooter, Amane-san?
もちろん。
俺が誘ったんだし、バス乗せてもらえるように頼んでみるよ。
No, it's fine. I'm not into clubs, so I'll get there myself. I just make things awkward for the juniors and probably even distract the competitors too.
そうか。悪いな。よし。じゃあまた明日。俺も寝るわ。
Angie rose to his feet with a spring in his step and slipped on his shoes by the entrance.
時間とか後で送っとくわ。
Alright, see you tomorrow.
はいよ。アルト、型の試合も見てやってくれよな。
The kata matches? Why?
かっこいいからよ。明日のために必死で頑張ってきたんだわ。あいつら。じゃあな。
I mean, even though sometimes I still think that it's interesting to see what people have been working hard towards, if I'm not really interested in something I'm not interested in, wouldn't it be a disservice for me to join up since I don't understand anything that they're doing? The next morning, the karate club finished breakfast and boarded their bus to the tournament. After seeing them off, I got on the cup too. For a while, I followed the same road I'd taken with Amane-san to the lake. The gym that held the tournament was also by the lake. Maybe the town's main facilities were all clustered there. The gym was brand new, its white and blue entrance making it look almost like an aquarium. I parked the cub in a spacious parking lot. I sent Angie a quick message to let him know I'd arrived. A moment later, he stepped out through the building's entrance.
こっちこっち。
We stepped into the gym. The venue was brimming with a strange kind of energy. Competitors and their friends. Parents who had come to cheer them on. The place was fairly noisy, but beneath the clamor, a layer of tension lingered.
ちょうどよかったよ。今開会式が終わったところだ。すぐ試合だ。観戦席こっち。
Is it really okay for you to be in the stands, Angie?
もちろん。今日の仕事は応援だ。
On our way to the stands, I caught sight of Tachibana. I recognized some of the club members around her too. It was the Yamaoka Academy Karate Club. Akari-senpai and the club advisor were watching over the circle of students. In the center stood three competitors wearing red belts. One of them was Harayama-san. Our eyes met and hers widened. Harayama-san shot Tachibana a playful glance. When Tachibana turned back, she wore the exact same expression Harayama-san had just made.
アルト？何してんの？
Angie told me to come watch the kata matches too.
応援なんて多い方がいいだろう。せっかく居合わせたんだしさ。
心強い。ありがとね。
You don't really see her sprite all that often, that Akari girl. Not at all. It's not like I can actually do anything.
いいんだよ。試合の日はさ、些細なことが心強かったりするんだから。
それに、立花の怪我が気になるんだと。
You didn't have to mention that.
心配してきてくれたの？
Mostly to cheer you on.
ちょうどよかった。負傷中の支障が頼りなくて、どうも試合に集中できなさそうだったの。これで思う存分やれそう。
早速役立ってるみたいだ。
Akari-senpai glanced my way and shot me a grin.
団体型優勝となったら君のおかげかも。
I do actually prefer those suffixes that are like senpai, you know, kohai, blah blah blah. Maybe because I grew up playing Persona 4 and those actually were in the original localization. But I know some localization actually disregard those 100%, right? And to me, I feel like it was actually a disservice. So I appreciate you doing this, Robert. But you know, it's not as if you need to do it, even though she said senpai too.
それは言い過ぎです。
ちょっと待って。心外なんですけど。誰が頼りないって？気力も体力も十分。負けた時の言い訳にしないでよ、秋。
しないよ。勝つから。
Haruyama-san flashed a confident smile at Tachibana, then shot me a look.
うちの師匠と一緒に観戦してあげてくれる？手でも握ってあげてさ。
Is she not part of the kata, like, tournament? I thought that she would be. I know that she's in the kumite one, but I thought that she would be joining both.
いらないから、マジで。早く行けよ。
Haruyama-san laughed, and so did the other members. One after another, the club members patted the three red-belted competitors on the back. Tachibana patted their backs too, then turned back toward us.
アンジ、あんたもでしょ？何ボケっとしてんの？
あ、そうだよな。
Haruyama-san turned back, her profile coming into view. There was a smile on her lips. Angie gave her back a gentle pat.
頼んだぜ、副将。
もち、任せて。
二人もいつも通りな。
The ones at Haruyama-san's side were also third years like us. It was their last inter-high too.
客席で応援してる。
I actually don't know the ranking between the colored belts. I know that the first time you entered into karate or whatever sort of sport, you have a white belt because that's the beginning of your like journey. And I know that the black belt is the top one, but I don't know what all of the other colors are in between.
ありがとう、アンジ。行ってくる。
So I don't know what a red belt signifies. Is she strong? Is she decently strong? Is she bad? I'm gonna guess it's about mid-tier, I suppose. Cheered on by everyone, Haruyama-san and the others headed for the court. Before long, their backs disappeared from view.
よし、俺たちも客席行くか。
そうだね。
アルト、立花に肩貸してやってくれ。
いいって、そこまでじゃないから。
高校最後の試合の前日なんだぞ。やりすぎなくらいでちょうどいいんだよ。そのためにアルトが来たんだから。
I nodded slightly. Nodding confidently would have felt a bit embarrassing. After all, the club members around us were looking at me. The fact was, Tachibana had been limping on her right foot the entire time. Angie had a point. I'll lend you my shoulder. I stepped up beside Tachibana.
ありがとう。
She murmured, then rested her hand on my shoulder. I felt our weight settle against it.
こっちだ。階段気をつけろよ。
Man, Angie is like wingmanning us like crazy. We sat in the back rows of the stands. The front row was packed with our underclassmen from Yamaoka Academy. Everyone was on their feet, looking down at the court.
俺も前行ってるわ。
あ、じゃあ私も。
立花はギリギリまで安静。アルト、頼んだぞ。見張っといてくれよ。勝手に立ったり歩いたりしないように。
Yeah, he's wingmanning us like crazy this route. Got it. I answered with a laugh.
そういうこと？
She pointed at the tip of my nose.
見張り役。
I thought I'd be completely useless here, but I'm glad I've got a role.
じゃあ隣座っとけよ。
Sorry about that, Eri. She patted the seat beside her. I sat down there. Smiling, Angie turned his back to us and headed for the front row.
ここからでもよく見える。あると試合見るの初めてでしょ？
I nodded. Then the kata competition began. The opening event of Interhigh was the girls' team kata.
午後の決勝までは結構なペースで進んでく。あっという間だから見逃さないようにね。
You're not doing kata anymore?
2年生の時から組手に集中してる。型は秋たちの方が上。
I'm gonna guess kata is like something akin to dancing, right? But, you know, in a more strict sports fashion. The matches were completely different from what I vaguely had in mind. The competitors stepped in, took their spots, and shouted something with spirit. Afterward, they all moved through the set motions. Probably similar to, surprisingly, I have went to a Tai Chi sort of community thing a couple of months back. But I stopped going because it was just way too early in the morning for me. Even though it was, I don't know whether or not to say it's enjoyable, but it was certainly unique. Most people there are old people though. But yeah, Tai Chi is basically dancing and holding like stances and stuff. You know, dancing according to like Chinese music or whatever. They move with the precision of a choreographed dance. The shifts between stillness and motion were extreme, filling every motion with intensity. But I do think that a lot of the things that they said about Tai Chi, the people in the community I mean, they're over-exaggerating just how good Tai Chi is for you. Because at the end of the day, you're not really burning a lot of calories. You know? Sure, you're practicing your stance, you're doing good form. But if you're already regularly exercising and like what I'm doing, going to the gym, I probably think you don't really need to do any sort of Tai Chi. Tai Chi is good because the ceiling for your physical like capacity is very small, very little. You don't really need to be physically fit to join it, is what I'm trying to say. Not like you need to do so for the gym too. You can always do it at your own pace. But it's easier for people to not push themselves when they're older, right? Which is what Tai Chi does. It doesn't really push you. The competitors repeated the same movements, rotating in and out. To an untrained eye like mine, it was impossible to see who was ahead. The next competitor shouted something again. What did she just say?
精杯って言ってる。一つ一つの演舞に名前がついてるわけ。高校空手だとだいたい3種類くらいかな。
By the way, which is Angie's specialty? Kumite or kata?
アンジ？イムは型じゃない？子供の頃は組手が好きだったし、得意だったけど。
When you were kids? Have you known Angie since you were kids? Tachibana turned her eyes to me. A strange silence fell between us.
まあね、それなりに長い付き合いなの、実は。あ、次うちだ。
This story would have been so much easier if Eri actually fell for Angie instead of us. But because she fell for us, things definitely turned into, you know, a big tragedy. I followed her gaze down to the court. The three from earlier headed to the center of the court. Leading them was Hariyama-san.
Aki!
Tachibana shouted loudly. Hariyama-san looked away and gave a little nod. Tachibana replied with one of her own. The three stepped into the center of the court and came to a sharp halt. Hariyama-san drew a deep breath, then shouted the kata's name. Though I do wish you don't you don't miss the sun, etc. from time to time though, Robert. As you can see. You need some better QC, my friend. In perfect unison, the three assumed the same stance, like a finely tuned machine.
見ててあげて。かっこいいから。
Yeah, they really are. From there, we stayed quiet and watched Hariyama-san and the others perform their kata. Just like Tachibana said, it was over in the blink of an eye. In the morning, Hariyama-san and her team made it through the preliminaries and advanced to the afternoon finals. During lunch break, the venue had been rearranged, setting the stage for one-on-one matches at the center court. In the end, Hariyama-san's team lost in the championship match, taking second place. Oh, it's the same thing that happened, okay. I'm gonna guess maybe they didn't even get to the finals before, but I don't know. Tachibana, who had been watching beside me, closed her eyes and let out a deep breath when the result was announced. When she opened her eyes again, her expression had already brightened.
お疲れ。秋。
She whispered it so softly that only I, who sat next to her, could hear.
よし、エリー街部員ロビーに集合。見事準優勝に輝いた同志を迎えるよ。
あかり先輩、私も。
エリはそこでお座り。戦友を祝うのは明日の自分の試合を制した後。
Are you gonna give me some pep talk? Tachibana was about to stand up but sat back down with a wry smile.
はい。
よし。
Following Akari-senpai, the club members who had been cheering in the front row began to file out. Angie joined them too, along with the other two male club members. Once the Yamaoka Academy members were gone, the clamor around us died down. That was close.
そうだね。でも、良かったと思う。ミスもなかった。
I guess the opponent was just better than him. I don't know how this is graded too.
悔いはないんじゃないかな。
So, was that the last match for today?
私たちはね。でも、個人方の試合はまだあるから。それまでは観戦。
I see. How's your foot? Still resting her cheek on her hand, she turned her eyes toward me. A faint smile played at her lips.
まあまあ、痛み止めは効いてる。
I see.
そうか？それだけ？
What do you want me to say? She lifted her head from her hand and faced me.
もうちょっと気の利いたこと言えないのかな。わざわざバイト休んで元気づけに来てくれたんでしょ？それとも本当に見張りに来ただけ？
A faint smile lingered on her lips.
明日の試合のこと考えると不安でその辺歩き回っちゃいそう。
You're supposed to be resting, remember?
捕まえといてよ。
With a sulky look, Tachibana held out her right hand to me.
どっか行っちゃうぞ。
The fuck? I met Tachibana's gaze. I guess she just wants to be spoiled at the moment. After a brief silence, I took her hand and laid it together with mine on my lap. Please stay put. I'm begging you.
分かってる。
The touch of her hand all but consumed my thoughts. It was my first time touching her hand. So soft and warm, the fuck? Okay, this is getting creepy territory. That feeling alone was enough to take me over. Is this really what teenagers think of when they touch like a girl's hand or something? My mind dwelt in my fingertips. I knew the sensation somehow.
あると。
I turned my eyes toward her. Tachibana looked down at the court, her profile turning toward me.
今日、サリは何してるって？
Amani-san. I don't know.
そっか。
Hands still joined, we gazed down at the court as preparations for the individual kata began. After a while, Angie came running toward us. I wondered if I should let go of her hand, but she only held mine tighter. I squeezed hers in return. As we sat side by side, our hands lay clasped between us. Angie saw our hands and froze for a moment, then burst out laughing.
何よ。
いや、なんでもない。邪魔じゃないか。
Man, what a bro Angie is.
まさか。ね？
I nodded. Angie took the seat beside me. a slight smile lingering for a moment. It's so sad though, because in the other route, he actually does care for, like, Eri quite a bit.
そっか。やっと進めたってわけか。
What?
いや、なんでもね。こっちの話。立花、
何？
原山に呼ばれたよ。
Tachibana fell silent. I stole a glance at the two faces on either side of me. Angie sat staring blankly ahead. Tachibana was gazing at his profile. I do think that the nose, when you're doing the side, like, profile like this, the nose is way too big and too forward-ish.
昨日さ、立花たち二人で話してただろ。
I thought we were gonna forget about it.
ランドリーの裏でさ。
Angie!
なんで知ってんの？
いたんだよ。あの時、出て行くタイミング失っちまって。
Are you gonna blow my cover too? Actually, me too. Okay, I just blew myself up.
黙ってりゃいいのに。
You want to talk.
じゃああんた、秋の気持ち。
驚いたよ。正直、昨日は全然眠れなかった。だってそうだろ。3年間仲間としてしか見てなかったからさ。
Yeah, that's fair enough. I've actually had a classmate of mine that she was actually giving me code or whatever, like back when I was in high school, and when we met up again as an alumni, that you know, she kind of wanted me to notice her signals or whatever, but I never did. So yeah, I'm pretty dense, I guess, when it comes to stuff like that, or maybe it's just that I don't care about it too much.
その気持ちはわかるよ。
She can talk about it because, you know, she already let go of the feelings, right? She's married, and I also met up with her husband, which is a pretty cool person.
立花、
But it was kind of awkward when she brought that up when I met up with her again, with her husband. And she kept his eyes closed for a moment, then opened them again, still facing forward.
俺、ずっとお前のこと好きだったんだわ。でも今さ、そうやってアルトと手つないでるの見て、すっげえ嬉しい。
Is this a whole self-sacrifice thing, Angie? About, you know, loving someone more than yourself, kind of thing?
もうちょっと悲しさとか寂しさがあると思ったんだけどな。
I mean, it's not as if I don't believe in someone like this, but someone who's kind like this is a bit too unbelievable at times. You know, especially in the real world, where they care about other people than themselves. He turned to me with a smile.
アルトのことも好きだからだろうな。
それなら一人忘れてるでしょ。
ああ、もちろん。あいつのことだって好きだ。やっぱ特別なんだよな。上書きできないっていうかさ。
よくわかるよ。
エリ、
Angie looked past me, his gaze settling on Tachibana.
よかったな。おめでとう。
まだ早いよ。それは明日にして。決着は試合の後。そう決めてるの。
そっか。
こんなところで何してるのよ。秋、待ってるんじゃないの？
いや、閉会式の後に話したいって。準優勝の表彰が終わってからって。
Angie stood up.
踏ん切りがついたわ。俺も。これでちゃんと答えられるよ。原山に。
He headed down the stairs, then looked back up at us.
あとは自由時間だってよ。そこで安静にしてろよ。言われるまでもないか。
うっさいって。
Angie walked off toward the exit laughing.
アルトも聞いてたんだ。
Sorry.
いいよ。だって聞いた上で今日来てくれたんでしょ。
I nodded. Angie asked me to come watch the matches. Last night, after we got back from our walk, he showed up at our place.
そうだったんだ。全然知らなかった。
Where did we walk to? I think it was the forest, right? Tachibana laughed, looking exasperated. But I came here because I wanted to. After hearing your talk with Hariyama-san, and after our walk last night, I couldn't stop thinking about you. If you had any worries before the match, I wanted to at least stay by your side. I lifted my downcast eyes and met Tachibana's gaze head on. That's why I came. A smile spread across her face. A smile full of satisfaction.
じゃあ嬉しい。それから
She raised her clasped hands for me to see.
励みにもなってる。これは勝てるな、明日。
Just don't let your guard down, okay?
わかってる。誰に言ってんのよ。こっちはね、とんでもなく強力なライバルと10年戦い続けてんのよ。
Okay. Tachibana turned her gaze to the court. I'm guessing she's talking about Sari. So anime. I watched her profile.
最後の瞬間まで油断なんてしない。
She said quietly. And so, the first day of the Inter-High came to an end, with both the men's and women's team kata and individual kata matches concluded. In the women's team kata, Hariyama-san and her two teammates stood with silver medals around their necks as the applause rolled in.
頑張れ、アキ。
She murmured softly. The whole gym was steeped in calm. Only Tachibana's whisper was tense. With the closing remarks finished, cleanup had begun in the court. Tomorrow, this venue would host the kumite matches. Most of the equipment was left in place. We should get going too. Just like when we arrived, I lent Tachibana my shoulder. When we stepped outside, the sky was already dyed crimson. The Nagano sunset was truly beautiful.
午前中より多少マシだ。ずっと座ってて正解だったかも。
Oh, you're already out of your gi.
やっぱ休息って大事。
Yeah, if you're into sports, any sort of sports, if you're going to the gym, anything that's extraneous, you know, that's strenuous to your body, you need to rest to recover your body. Of course it is. I said, exasperated. I really didn't think that, you know, sleeping was all that important when I was younger. I love sleeping. The fact that sleeping is such a nice thing to do, you know, you feel refreshed after you sleep, and yeah, sleeping in general just feels comfortable, right? But I didn't like how time consuming it was. When I was younger, I definitely didn't sleep as much, and that's probably the reason for my lack of growth in terms of height. Or maybe I just want something to blame for my short stature. I don't know. The karate club's bus was parked in front of the gym.
Oh.
Angie came up behind me and gave my shoulder a pat. His face was lit with a smile full of relief.
俺、アンジーちょっと、アキは？
今二人で話してきた。先乗ってるぞ。
え、ちょっと。
Angie headed toward the bus with light steps. I could see his profile through the bus window.
エリ
This time, it was Hariyama-san's voice. She walked slowly toward us. Her gaze was lowered and unfocused. The setting sun outlined Hariyama-san in her school uniform in crimson.
アキ、ちゃんと伝えられた？
Tachibana asked quietly. Hariyama-san came to a slow stop in front of Tachibana. Her gaze was still unfocused. The air around them changed, as though it were a world meant only for the two of them. I stepped away from Tachibana, giving them space. Beyond the two facing each other, I could see the karate team's bus. In one of the windows was Angie's profile.
アキ、
エリ
Hariyama-san answered in a small voice. She slowly lifted her face and looked straight at Tachibana. From one of her eyes, a tear silently slid down.
アンジーがさ、今日の会場で一番かっこよかったよって。
But did he still refuse you?
誰にも負けてなかったよって言ってくれた。 すぐには気持ちに応えられないけど言ってくれた。
Okay. He didn't outright reject you, though. A faint smile came to Tachibana's lips.
エリー、どうしよう。
I mean, he didn't, you know.
私
Oh, okay.
めっちゃ嬉しい。
I thought she was actually unhappy for it.
嬉しいよ。
Both hands covering her face, Harayama-san's voice came out muffled. Tachibana stepped closer to her and gently stroked her bowed head.
さすがはうちの副将だ。よく頑張ったね。かっこいいよ、アキ。
It looked like my job for today was over. I nodded to Tachibana, who was stroking Harayama-san's head. She gave a small nod in return. Glancing toward the bus, I saw Angie looking bashful. I smiled at him, then headed off toward where the cub was parked. Actually got me for worried that, Angie was gonna go full psycho. Not gonna lie. The next day, it was finally time for Tachibana's individual kumite competition. The karate club boarded the bus at the same time as yesterday and headed for the venue. Today, Amani-san was joining us to cheer for Tachibana. Right after the karate club's bus departed, we climbed into the owner's compact car and headed to the venue. Okay, this should probably be mostly the same because, yeah, as you can see, the dialogue is back to being yellow.
目元が似てるよね、エリに。
Her eyes? Oh, we're talking about Eri's mom. Okay. Well, just that one line and then back to skipping? Okay. I want to talk with Tachibana, so I'll stick around a little longer. Oh, this must be the break or something. She looked up at me and smiled.
それがいいよ。帰り連絡して。オーナーが来てくれると思うから。
Oh, is this the end? This might be after she won then. With that, she turned her gaze to the karate club. Tachibana, fresh from her match, was surrounded by her fellow club members. Some had red, tear-streaked eyes. They were the juniors who looked up to her. Meanwhile, Tachibana was trying to soothe their emotions. Tachibana then looked our way. She nodded at us with a satisfied smile. Amane-san smiled softly in return.
日本一か。大したもんだ。
Without another word, she made her way toward the exit.
また後で。
I watched her back as she left.
アルト。
When I turned, Tachibana was running over to me.
あれ、サリは？帰っちゃった？
She said she didn't have the guts to step into your little circle of youth.
なんだそれ。まだおめでとう言ってもらってないのに。
Tachibana shot a dissatisfied look toward the exit. Oh, I guess the red belt means that you're a part of the competition. Because I remember yesterday on the previous chapter, she actually had a black belt. She looked really happy though. Her eyes widened.
サリが？珍しい。
Yeah, I figured.
アルトは？一緒に帰らなくてよかったの？今日はバイクもないでしょ？
Yeah, but I want to see the awards ceremony. Tachibana smiled softly. She seemed a bit embarrassed.
嬉しいけどさ。帰りどうするの？歩ける距離じゃないよ。
How far could it be? I've walked like 19 kilometers before. It took me 3 hours though of walking. She told me to get in touch.
でも車出すのはおじいちゃんでしょ？
Tachibana fell silent for a moment.
ちょっと待ってて。
With that, she dashed off somewhere. Hey, Tachibana, is your foot going to be okay? I called out to her as she ran off. She turned and smiled.
もう折れたところで知ったこっちゃないから。
You're a crazy bitch. You should care about that. Your life is just starting. You're what, 17? I get that youthful vigor is something, you know, youthful emotions, youthful vigor, youthful something. You know, you want to live with your dreams held high. But in the real world, if you break your freaking toe when you're 17, it's probably going to have repercussions when you're growing older. I let out an exasperated sigh.
調子いいもんだよな。
A voice suddenly came from my side. Angie was grinning.
最後まで見てくのか?
Yep, that's the plan. About Harayama-san. Angie turned his eyes toward me. She looked really happy yesterday.
あ
Angie scratched his head with a sheepish smile.
あ、なんだかむずがゆいよ。好きなんて言ってもらえたの初めてだったしさ。でもなんつうか、男ってやっぱどうしようもないよな。
Hey, don't grow me with you. That's a pretty broad generalization. What's up with you?
いやさ、俺も俺なりに真剣な片思いをしてたつもりだったんだ。だって10年以上だぜ。
Angie turned his head toward the karate club members. Everyone was there except Tachibana. His gaze settled on Harayama-san, who was laughing cheerfully.
なのにさ、自分のこと好きって言ってくれる女の子がさ、もう気になってしょうがねえんだもん。
I mean, give it a few days. If you still think about it, then maybe your like for that girl 10 years ago might not be as strong as you thought it was. But you said it yourself yesterday. That Harayama-san looked cooler than anyone else. I don't think you like her just because she showed you some affection. Isn't it more like you're drawn to people who are cool and strong, Angie? Angie stared at me in a daze. I don't know, I think we're probably making assumptions, Haruto. I don't think Tachibana back then, or Eri, was a strong person.
なるほどな。
He turned his gaze back toward Harayama-san.
そうかもしれない。なるほどな。
But you're not wrong either. Us guys really are hopeless. As I muttered that, I could feel Angie's eyes shift back to me. At the end of my gaze was Tachibana. She came running back from wherever she had been, a cheerful smile on her face. Anyone can end up liking two people at the same time, I'm sure. Really? But we have to give them an answer at least.
だな。
アルト、表彰式終わったらうちの親に送ってもらって。
The fuck? Your parents? I thought you were just gonna come over and say the bus is gonna take me too. Huh? Why?
車で来てるし、父親の方はアンジーの家の車に乗せてもらう。
I turned to Angie. Your parents are here too? What for?
まあ、応援しに。
Cheer for who? Tachibana and Angie exchange a glance. Tachibana then?
まあ、そんな感じ。
The fuck? Mrs. Tachibana's car was a compact type too. It was much newer than the lodges, but the interior felt similar. They let me ride in the passenger seat. Mrs. Tachibana stared confidently into the mountain road leading to the lodge. She clearly knew the way well.
アルト君、お母さん元気してる？
She's doing well. Probably the same as always.
エリからね、アルト君のことはよく聞いてたんだ。こっちに来たってことは少し状況が良くなったってことなのかな。
I'm probably in the middle of getting there. I answered as honestly as I could. So the dad is with Angie's, like, you know, parents? But I thought that this could fit 3 people, maybe more. I don't know how compact a compact car is. But, you know, wouldn't it at least fit like 4 or 5 people, no problem? Piecing together the bits and pieces in Tachibana and Angie's words, I'd start to realize there was more behind the summer in Nagano.
サリちゃんも元気そうで嬉しかったな。ここでエリを育ててよかったってよく思うんだ。友達に恵まれてさ。
I gazed at Mrs. Tachibana's profile. There were no traffic lights on the mountain road. Her eyes stayed fixed straight ahead.
幼馴染のいる人生って憧れるな。私いないから。
I mean, same, I guess. Ari's mother, that I don't know the name of. Childhood friends. You mean us four, right? My probing question made Tachibana's mother smile.
そう、4人。いろいろあると思うけどさ、エリと仲良くしてやってよ。意外に打たれ弱い子だからさ。
I smiled and turned my eyes forward. Yeah, I know that all too well.
さすが幼馴染。頼もしい。サリちゃんとおじいちゃんにはまた改めてご挨拶するって伝えておいてくれるかな。サリちゃん、しばらくは日本にいるんでしょ？
I think so. Apparently, there was a dinner party for the Karate Club members' parents after this. Oh, okay. Mrs. Tachibana dropped me off at the lodge, then headed back to her town. Alright. Back to more skipping here. But yeah, I assume it was gonna be a lot of overlap between the routes, right? Well, I'm already here. I'll listen to as many as you want. So this is the date sort of arc. I was actually surprised how short this chapter was in the Sari route, but I guess it's gonna be a lot lengthier here in this route. Still wearing that same smile, she shook her head. I think it was like half an hour on the previous route, this date.
まずは一つ。まだ手は離さないで。
Tachibana pulled my hand again.
原付き、駅に置いてるんでしょ？もう少しだけ足伸ばしてもいい？
Okay,
これが最後の目的地。
even this point is still a lot of overlapping. There are minute differences, and I kind of like them for, you know, skipping towards text that's new.
強くなったでしょ？私。
Her expression radiated the confidence backed by the results she'd achieved yesterday. I nodded in response. You're really cool back there. I mean it. Cooler than anyone else. Hey! Come on! We're using the same words as Angie. At least make your own words, Aruto.
ピアノを弾いてるサリよりも？
She said with a laugh. I answered her wistful smile with another nod. You were the coolest in the world. That's what I think. Her eyes widened as she looked at me. Then she smiled softly.
ごめん。今のはなし。卑怯なタイミングで卑怯なこと聞いた。
That's not true. I came here today knowing exactly how I feel. A breeze passed between us, sending small ripples across the lake's quiet surface. It's okay now. You can call me like you used to. You remember, right? My nickname when I just moved here from the city. Tachibana drew a quiet breath, then smiled faintly.
そっか。そこまで思い出せたんだ。
Yeah, it was a big reveal on the previous route because we never got to the point of that yet. But I guess in this one, Aruto kind of, you know, got a lot more circumstantial evidence to try to piece together stuff.
向き合えたんだね。アルトは。やっぱりすごいな、サリは。止まってた時間、動かしちゃうんだもん。
Yeah, she was the one that set up this everything though. Sorry.
しかもアルトだけじゃなくて、みんなのさ。
She smiled, though her gaze wavered. Amane-san gave me the nudge I needed. It was because she came to me that day that I could finally face my past. Tachibana's eyes glistened with tears. But it wasn't just Amane-san. Before that, you were there by my side, Tachibana. Angie too. You three all helped me. That's why it's okay now. You can call me Tokyo again. Tachibana lowered her gaze with a soft smile. And when she raised her face again, the glistening in her eyes was gone.
でも、 私はアルトって呼ぶよ。だって私ちゃんと好きになったから。
You said the same thing, which was why I was a bit weirded out the fact that in the flashback when we were kids, you also like us when we were young. I mean, I wonder if Sari actually sees past us as, you know, sees the current Aruto rather than just Tokyo.
あの非常階段で私はアルトを好きになった。
In Eri's case, I guess she likes both us in the past and also us right now.
私は人生で2回もあなたを好きになれた。
For me, it was only once, but I don't think my feelings were any weaker.
本当？私日本一だよ。
For your current age, okay, Eri. Don't be too overconfident. I definitely can't beat you in Kumite, though. Tachibana laughed. Her bangs swayed with emotion. I felt hollow, like I wasn't good enough for you. So I never said anything. I was too scared.
ごめん。ずっと隣にいたのに支えられなかった。私。
I shook my head. That's not something you need to apologize for. I was the one running away. But not anymore. I'm done running. Watching you yesterday made me realize that. She waited for my next words. I drew in a deep breath, then slowly exhaled before continuing. I love you too, Tachibana. I always have, but I just couldn't say it. I'm still hollow, and I only understand fragments of my past. But even so, will you let me stay by your side? Tachibana let out a little snort of laughter.
当たり前だよ。これからは私がアルトを支える。
So what about the final chapter? What's gonna happen there?
トキオくんと別れられるまで私がそばにいる。
Tokyo, the nickname I had when I was a kid. He wasn't my little brother. The Tokyo I saw was really just a part of myself. A piece I had cut away to lock up a memory I couldn't face. I must have left the sound of the piano with him as well.
アルト。
Her eyes were still moist with tears. I pulled her into an embrace. She answered in kind, wrapping her arms around me. I could hear the lake's gentle lapping, the whisper of the wind, the hum of the cars. Countless sounds drifted around me. The distance between us had melted away. I could feel her heartbeat, as if it were echoing from inside my own chest. The sound of the piano never returned, but that was okay. Tachibana was beside me now, and I could hear her heartbeat. For me right now, that was enough. We stayed like that for a while, simply feeling each other's warmth. I guess this is the ending that I sort of wanted, because as you guys already heard from all of the previous episodes, I want the person that lost the memories to become their own person instead of trying to regain their memories back and become who they were, right? And I guess in this alternate route, Aruto did exactly just that. He didn't cling to the past. He doesn't... Well, it's not as if he forsake the past, but he's not letting it weigh him down. He still have his own feelings and what's more important to him than his past, right? Eventually, little by little, our bodies began to part. So, I guess it's up to each people which route they really like or they prefer. I guess in terms of my logical, thought patterns so far, I'm probably going to prefer this route compared to Sari's route. Her head was lowered, cheeks faintly flushed.
サリに言わなくちゃな。
She turned her gaze toward me.
ちゃんと気持ちを伝えられたことと、アルトも受け入れてくれたこと、サリに伝えに行きたい。 れと今度は逃げなかったって。
I nodded. Let's go. We left the lake behind and headed toward the station. Apparently, her mother was coming to pick her up by car. Tachibana called ahead to say she wanted to stop by the lodge on the way.
アルトはバイクだよね。
Yeah, I'll follow behind. How long are you staying here?
明日には戻るよ。予備校の夏期講習申し込んだの。今から追い上げだから。
Athletes have it tough.
ま、今まで練習してた時間に勉強すれば余裕っしょ。
Yeah, I'm sure you'll be fine. In front of us were two shadows. The sun had sunk low, stretching them long. Our shadows, shoulders pressed together, had merged into one, with no boundary in between.
サリー、怒るかな？
No, she'll probably congratulate us. She won't. She said it herself. Today, we'd end up together.
未来の記憶か。サリーのおかげだな。
We waited a while, watching the rotary in front of the station. Both she and I stayed silent. It was a comfy silence. A lone taxi sat parked, still waiting for passengers. Before long, Tachibana waved toward a car. It was the same compact car that had given me a ride to the lodge the other day. Mrs. Tachibana drove at a leisurely pace, matching the speed limit of my scooter. Since we were the only ones in the mountain road, no cars were lined up behind us. The lodge was quiet after the karate club had checked out. Light spilled from the log house where Romani-san and I were staying. I should ring the bell.
なんで？アルトもここに泊まってるんでしょ？鍵持ってないの？
Yeah, I do, but I want to play safe. If I bumped into Amane-san fresh out of the bath like this, I'd have no idea what to do. I pressed the intercom button. From behind the door came the sound of someone moving. The door opened. Amane-san glanced at each of us in turn, then smiled softly.
どうぞ。
It happened just like you said it would, Amane-san. Tachibana said she wants to tell you herself. Amane-san's gaze shifted to Tachibana.
今回は思う存分できた？言いたいこと全部言えた？うん。サリのおかげ。サリのおかげで私ちゃんと勝てたし、アルトに気持ち伝えられた。勝てたのはエリが強くなったからでしょ。私は関係ないよ。
Well, true, but I do think without you being in the story, sorry, Tachibana would have still stayed the same either way, and I guess she enjoyed the status quo too much. She didn't want to break it.
アルト君を連れてきたのはまあ私の功績だけど、応援してくれたサリもアルトもだから勝てたんだよ。
I remembered a bit too coming here. Amane-san's eyes widened.
何か思い出せたの？
I nodded. I remembered I was Tokyo. The owner let me see his photo album too. Amane-san smiled softly.
さあ、ピアノは？
I shook my head.
ピアノ？ピアノって？
It's the one sound I can't hear. I still don't remember why, and I still can't hear it.
大丈夫だよ。
Amane-san said in a gentle voice.
アルト君が求め続ければまた聞こえるようになる。ピアノがない人生だってそれはそれでいいものなんだよ、きっと。
Well, yeah, now you say this.
その時もエリはアルト君の隣にいてくれる。そういうことなんでしょ？
It's so weird. Even though my logic is saying that this was the route that I should like. What they showed on the on the Saria route is so beautiful though. Amane-san flashed Tachibana a mischievous smile. I guess it's because a part of me also likes the truth. That I feel like in this route, even though it's also nice, there's parts of the truth that are still hidden from us. That I don't agree with it. If this route also shows us like understanding the reason why we don't hear the sound of the piano, I probably would have liked it a bit more. Tachibana lowered her gaze and gave a small nod.
ごめん。謝るな。これがエリの求めてた3人の立ち位置なんだから。私はいいよ、これで。ごめん。ありがとう。アルト君、長野来てよかった。
Romance is difficult, man. I don't get romance either. Only her lips showed a faint smile. Her eyes were serious. I've never really liked anyone romantically before. I nodded. I'm glad I came.
さあ。
Amane-san stood up.
提案なんだけどさ、アルト君。エリと一緒に神奈川に戻っても大丈夫だよ。
I exchanged glances with Tachibana. But wouldn't that be hard on you and the owner? There'll be guests coming in next week, won't there?
この前、私の家族も帰国したの。夏の間は体空いてるんだって。もちろん、このままひと夏働いてくれてもいい。他のバイト休んでもらったし、アルト君が決めていいよ。
I paused for a moment. Then the answer came to me. Thanks. Then I'll go back with Tachibana.
わかった。見送り、駅まで行く。サリ、ありがとう。どういたしまして。
So is this considered the final chapter now then? The next day, the owner gave us a ride to the station so we'd catch the train on time. Can you stop talking about that stupid train owner? God damn it, who cares about the Azusa? Chatting away, he drove us to the station at his usual leisurely pace. God, you train fanatic. Tachibana was already waiting for us in front of the ticket gates. She was traveling a lot lighter than I expected. Is that all your stuff, Tachibana?
着替えは実家から直接送ってもらった。
Oh, smart move.
日本一になったし、これくらいのわがままはね。
Yeah, you're even using your school uniform going
じゃあ
back.
エリ、
Amane-san pushed me through into my backpack. I stumbled forward toward Tachibana. Amane-san chuckled softly and stepped in front of her. She pressed her right index finger to the center of Tachibana's chest.
今度こそ任せたからね。アルト君のこと、トキオ君のこと、エリに任せるからね。
I mean, truth be told, what Sari said to us when we were kids really took its toll on us, right? So the fact that she gave all that responsibility to Eri, I couldn't really blame Eri for not being able to do anything throughout high school.
分かってる。
Amane-san gave a small nod, then took a few steps back, still facing us.
今度はそっち行く。二人で案内してね、鎌倉。もちろん。
Hey, maybe next time I'm in Japan, I'll try to, you know, save some time for Kamakura and see how it is. And Nagano, I guess. We passed through the ticket gates and headed for the platform.
エリだから任せたんだからね。
We walked all the way to the end of the platform. It was the very same spot where I stepped off the train the day I first arrived at the station.
また来ようね、長野。サリに会いにさ。
I nodded. She gave a big stretch.
やりきったな、空手。神奈川戻ったら受験生か。 それもしんどいな。
Same here. Hearing that, her expression slowly turned serious again as she looked at me. I'm planning to go to college. I've still got the money I saved for Tokyo's tuition.
そっか、
I'll tell mom when I get home.
喜ぶだろうな、アルトのお母さん。
Yeah, because it's been years since I've gone crazy. Of course she's gonna be happy. I nodded. You're not going to continue karate in college?
続けない。
She answered immediately.
しんどいもん。もう本当に悔いないし、大学生活はひたすら怠惰な日々を堪能する。アルトと一緒に。
Sounds good.
だから一人だけ受かるのも一人だけ落ちるのも禁止ね。
What do you mean? We'll have to give it everything we've got. We both laughed. From afar came the sound of the approaching train.
全部うまくいくよね。
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I think so. The front of the train passed by us. Side by side, we turned toward it. Tachibana took my hand. I squeezed hers back. Everything will work out as long as we're together. She nodded. The doors opened right in front of us. We boarded the train, leaving behind a place of our childhood memories. I feel like at the end of this one, they were still also quite unsure about the future too. Not as if the other one wasn't sure about the future, but like I said, because the other one showed the... what do you call it? The other route showed the truth, and we were able to accept it and overcome it, which is what I like. In this one, I feel like we were hiding through a part of our past, so that's why we accepted Eri prematurely. What I wanted to see was the fact that, you know, we kind of accepted our past too, and even through that, we still choose Eri. But I guess they wanted to show a different perspective, right? Which I guess I don't really mind in that regard. Though yeah, I guess at this point, I'm still gonna say I still prefer Sari's route now. And it's not because of the fact that I dislike this route, it's that it just felt it was lacking something, you know? Still a pretty interesting read, I suppose, for how short it was. Well, I say short, but because of my narration, and this is a pretty monologue-heavy visual novel. It took me like double the amount of time that Robert said. But if I was just reading this on my own, I probably would have finished this quite fast. Definitely. But that's just how Let's Plays are, right? I always pause the recording, or sorry, not the recording. I always pause the progression at times, simply to tell you guys my thoughts and what's happening, speculation and whatever. There wasn't really much to speculate about this one though, because I do think the Tokyo stuff was a twist that I couldn't really think about until very much at the end of the route, right? It wasn't until they brought up about how, yeah, we were seeing those childhood memories or whatever, which is basically chapter 7, chapter 8, when I basically said that we were going delusional. Before that, it was just me cruising through the story, just taking things as they go. But yeah, I guess I don't really have much to say anymore. But yeah, this is Harmonic Reflections, and if this is how Laplacian does their romance stories, I'm actually okay with it. Sure, the girls are crazy when they were childhood friends or whatever. But I do think, even though I don't really like romance all that much in terms of a story, it wasn't that unbearable or weird in this one. Unlike the one that, let's say, 99. 99's romance was weird, dude. The only time when it wasn't weird was actually during the Sora route. Which was, you know, the weirdest one because it's technically an incest route. But yeah, maybe at some point we'll do another Laplacian like playthrough. I do got Cyanotype and also that Radio Pigeon one on Steam. So we'll see. Do I get all achievements now, or is there going to be something else? There we go. Got all the achievements. 100% CG, sub-scenario complete. So yeah, I think I am basically done with everything in this game. Wait, why is that 98%? The fuck? It said I had 100% though. Why am I missing tracks? The fuck? How am I missing tracks? I played everything. Well, that's awkward. Okay. I don't know what is with the missing tracks and what is with the missing 2%, but I have 46 out of 46. That's not 98%. Well, I don't know what to say about this, but hope you guys enjoyed the episode and enjoyed the playthrough. With this, I am done with my current Sunday playthroughs. I'll probably make an update video next week too for the Patreon, like next visual novel to play for me, because I'll be done with Shrift no most likely tomorrow. Oh, sorry, not next week. Episode 22 is for the end of Shrift. As for Fate Stay Night, I think I'll still need about a month or so. We'll see. And then we can choose a new YouTube Let's Play. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Give this video a like if you guys like it. Sub if you guys haven't. Patreon will be getting these episodes early access with everything uncensored. Though there's nothing uncensored on this one. Though there might be uncensored stuff if we ever get around to playing all the other Laplacian stuff. Because like I said, there was an uproar about how people were mad about Laplacian for not having 8 scenes in their newer games. But I personally don't care about 8 scenes all that much, guys. I prefer dojins anyway. Alright, I'll see you guys on the next one. See ya.